State leads the conference in hitting. Nebraska, one of the best defensive teams.
Yeah, and it's all going to come down to which team can stay in system. The energy in the Devaney is unbelievable tonight.
Great set right off the bat from Hames, who pushed to the middle, and Caffey with the kill.
Yeah, Caffey is such a dependable middle. Take a look at that B31, that set, and they're going to take advantage of space along the net. Caffey makes herself available, and what a stud she is. We're going to talk her numbers all night long.
So Lexi Rodriguez with the first serve for Nebraska. Go to Stivrins again, nice up from the left side, knocked down by Johnny Parker. And into the pin on the swing goes Kubik, point for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, the ball hit the antenna, but wow, what a, just a hard hit she unleashed right down the line. Boy, if that ball did not hit the antenna, that would have been just an amazing swing from her.
Krause goes into the block. Run in the middle to Caitlin Horde, and Nebraska's block was waiting for it.
Well, I like the way Kubik came in to help. The left side attacker for Nebraska was hip to hip with the middle. You're going to see how they're taking that shot away. They jump, they commit on Horde and do a fantastic job of shutting her down.
It's one of the reasons teams are hitting just 152 against Nebraska, not just the block, but the back row, and not always getting the block, but Aubrey, a lot of block touches for Nebraska.
Yeah, the defensive unit together, front row and back row, they work so well together, and we're going to watch it all night long. We'll keep track of how they're doing.
Secondary set goes out to the right pin. Johnny Parker is wide, and Nebraska up 3-1 here early on.
Well, Nebraska right now is targeting a few people on serve receive. Right now it seems to go to Adonna Rollins, as we see Blossom in that right back position coming up.
Taken there by Hampton. Out to that left pin, good up. Back row, Kinsey Knuckles. The dig by Blossom, and Penn State has been out of system a lot here early in these first few points, primarily because Nebraska targeting Blossom.
You know, it's a fantastic rally until you get a double contact, and those are those unforced errors that you really don't want. You want to make sure if a dig gets up that a non-setter is able to set somebody and keep the ball going. That's an unforced error on Penn State's side of the net.
Keani Leakana out of Hawaii with the serve. Going to Rollins again, bump set to the outside into the Stivrins block, but good coverage there by Hampton. Push is wide by Stivrins. Nice tip by Stivrins in that near corner.
Yeah, that was just wide. It's a great replay there to see how that ball was just a couple inches outside of that sideline.
Second year starting libero, Jenna Hampton. Off the tape, Hames fortunately right there for the Huskers. Good dig, but nobody there to cover it. But what a play by Hampton. The kill still goes to Nebraska.
Yeah, Hampton was ready for that one. That came at her fast. Unfortunate, again, for Penn State. Two miscues, and really they could have been transition attacks on Penn State's side of the net. So just very strange errors from Penn State.
So after the kill, Kubik now to serve. Good pass by Rollins. They'll run the middle, the tip. Rodriguez there. And Lexi Sun just kind of brushes it off the block. Point for Nebraska.
And you can see what makes Nebraska so good. They are serving so tough, and they are hitting their targets. As a result, the pass is not great, and Penn State forced to tip. Easy transition for Nebraska.
Pin again, down the line goes Pritchard, knocked down. Here is Sun as she winds up and is wide, hitting error for Nebraska, 6-3.
Impressive dig down the line by Nebraska, and then a great set. And that's where Lexi Sun needs to be a little bit more patient. She was going for that kill. That sideline, you know, she just could not hit it.
Here's Quinn Menger in, the freshman, to serve. This is where Penn State looking for a bit more aggressive serving from the line. Stivrins with the big block.
Oh, Stivrins came to play tonight. She releases early, gets her hands up and over right in the face of Pritchard. You can see, again, for Nebraska, every single ball seems to find Adana Rollins in the backcourt. And we'll see if Adana Rollins is up for this task tonight, getting a lot of balls on serve receive.
Now Stivrins back to the serve line. He's seen more time at the line here late in this conference season. James goes out to the pin. And another kill for Lexi Sun from the left pin off the Nittany Lion block.
Yeah, Hames went with a B and a go. Really difficult. And when you have a blocker that's Gabby Blossom's size, you're going to try to exploit that area of the net. You can see the hands not quite over and pressed by Allie Holland for Penn State.
And the ace for Stivrins. That's her third ace of the year. Previous two came at Illinois. Welcome into the Bob Devaney Sports Center here in Lincoln, Nebraska. A battle of two top 15 teams in Penn State and Nebraska. Along with former Ohio State standout Audrey Fall, I'm Larry Putney. Great to have you in. Nebraska with the early advantage here. The serving error there by Stivrins after the ace makes it 9-4 Huskers.
Yeah, early on in this first set, we're already seeing Nebraska's tough serving. Now, they missed that one into the net, but their target seems to be Adana Rollins in the first set.
On the slide, Kathy inside the block of Adana Rollins and gets a kill.
Well, Kathy had some angles to hit there. The middle blocker for Penn State was not up and over. You can see all kinds of space. She sees what's available. Thumb up, hits hard cross court.
Hampton steps in front to take the first touch, and then down the middle in the kill by Johnny Parker. Well, explosive swing by Parker.
Yeah, Parker is such a competitive leader on the floor for Penn State. She takes that back row attack. She takes her first step as the setter is touching the ball, so the tempo of the set and the speed of her arm make her very, very hard to defend.
Allie Holland with the serve. It's a Stivrins swing from the left pin, not down. We'll check that was Krause with the swing. And then to the right side, they go Lexi Sun, who finds the line for a point.
Well, right now, Nebraska is playing with such confidence and ease, and they're doing what they do so well, getting touches off the block. And there you see Lexi Sun well over top of the block, hitting deep corner.
Kinsey Knuckles now back to serve for the Huskers. 11-5 here early on. Second touch, not down by Blossom. On the overpass, but into the net is called on Caitlin Horde, and Nebraska benefits.
Penn State looking a little off balance right now. This typically would be a big time kill and a momentum changing type of point for Penn State. But as you saw there in the replay, Horde in the net.
Just wide as Nebraska tries to serve the angles again, serve the sidelines. Back to serve now goes Gabby Blossom. Setter for Penn State, senior out of St. Louis, 8-time Big Ten setter of the week during her career, including this week. And that serve is just long by Blossom. Right now, Nebraska hitting just 176, but they're holding the Nittany Lions to negative 188.
Yep, and that is what Nebraska does so well. Their block touches, stuff blocks, backcourt defense, they just really make opponents work so hard to get a point that they almost frustrate them. And as a result, Nebraska gets a lot of points, a lot of wins that way.
Touch there by Horde, and then Stivrins with her opportunity puts it away.
Well, the connection between Stivrins and Nicklin Hames, her setter, is undeniable. They seem to have a sixth sense of where they are. And that time, a simple, quick attack. Take a look at how that ball goes right between the blocker's hands.
Last time these two teams played, Nebraska won it in 4, 3-1. Stivrins had 8 kills, hit 467 in that one, and another block. And Stivrins with a fist pump.
Well, this is the rotation where they're serving Adonna Rollins down the line right back. Very predictable where Blossom is going to go with the set. And as a result, Nebraska's block is there, hungry for stuff.
Here in set number 1, Nebraska hitting 222, Penn State negative 222. Huskers with the lead.
So many key matchups still yet to be played in just the last 2 weeks. You know, if you like drama and if you like intensity, you're watching the right conference in volleyball, that's for sure.
We could spend the entire first set just discussing scenarios. If, then, what if, who would win? Nice block on the right side there. Rollins is out at the pin along with Horde to get the block for the Nittany Lions. But if you're assessing importance here tonight, you would have to say that it's more important given that they're a game back for Penn State.
Yeah, if Penn State wants to have a chance, they have to win tonight to stay in the race. Otherwise, there's just too many crazy scenarios that they're depending on in order to win the conference. So this is a must-win for Penn State.
After the kill by Maddie Kubik, Kiani Leakana back to serve. Be interested in what you think about who's going to win the conference race over the next 2 weeks. You can send us a tweet at hashtag B1G Block Party. We'll read your tweets on the air.
Real interesting serve-receive pattern right now for Penn State. If you look at Adonna Rollins and right back, you've got the setter Gabby Blossom that is coming in. Okay, so she got subbed out right now. So obviously Russ Rose does not like that serve-receive pattern and putting in a defensive specialist for her. See if they get a better pass up.
That was a coaching you right there, huh? So in there to take that pass is Bolinovich, the sophomore DS. Here is Kubik. Blossom goes behind her, one-on-one. One-on-one, Johnny Parker usually delivers.
Yeah, Johnny Parker's so good, just reaches so high, gets herself back in transition with a big approach, and that ball was set up because of a great touch on Penn State side of the net in the block. So they were able to control the block, transition to Parker.
Senior out of Tampa, Jenna Hampton with the serve. And likewise, Kubik got a one-on-one look. The last time these two played, Kubik had 19 kills.
Yeah, she has to do well tonight. Oftentimes, games are on the shoulder of the outside hitter, but there you can see a great isolation there. You've got Nicklin Hames virtually with no block in front of her, and that's because, Kubik with no block in front of her. That's because Nicklin Hames set up a perfect ball. Great tempo to her.
Out to Parker, good tip by Parker, and that is down. Good change of pace from the senior.
It's important for Parker to change up her shot so that the defense doesn't get comfortable with where she likes to hit the ball. So great little touch there. You can see she knows where the defense is, deep on the line. A little sweet shot right over top of the block.
Freshman Menger now with the serve. That goes into the antenna. Point for Nebraska. Huskers right now hitting 227 in set 1. Penn State at negative 130. Mentioned early, Lauren Stivrins in the serving rotation now for Nebraska. She had an ace earlier here in set 1. Back again to serve for the Huskers. And it's long. Back into the game for Penn State is Adana Rollins. Serving is Angelina Stark. Stark did not play much early in the season. In fact, it wasn't until that Nebraska match last time when she really had her coming out party. 8 kills, 7 digs, and she's started 8 matches since that Nebraska match.
Yeah, and she has really good backcourt skills too, and she's tall, so she takes up space. But look at the space taken up there by Allie Holland on the block. Great timing, well set up block by the setter.
Pass on point, inside, and the tip is not there for Sun. Rollins goes off the top of the block. Back row, Kubik. Nice up by Stark. Free ball opportunity here for Nebraska. Hames pushes to the pin, the tip try. Good reaction there by Blossom. And right into the campfire goes Lexi Sun.
Well, fantastic patience shown in that rally by Lexi Sun. She didn't get the kill early, so a lot of patience on her part, working in shots. You can see what a great angle there to see the big hole in the middle of the court. That
as good as Penn State has been over the years and as dominant of runs as they have had in the country, 4 national titles, of course 7 for Russ Rose. It's unusual that they've only won once here at the Bob Devaney Sports Center.
I saw that stat and I had to read it over a couple times because the matchups between these two have been unbelievable, and so the fact that Penn State's only won once here really was quite shocking to me.
Boy, what a swing by Adana Rollins. She has been so dynamic over the last 4 matches. 21, 12, 14, and 16 kills. 63 over the last 4.
Yeah, Penn State is going to need her to be bang on tonight, and it'll be interesting to see if her backcourt game affects the way she plays in the front court, or if she can separate the two. Right now, she needs to swing big for her team.
This 4-game stretch she's in, she has 63 kills. Her previous best 4-game was 44. She's like, over the last 4, just turned it up another level. And there from that left pin is Nebraska's freshman Lindsey Krause, who gets an impressive swing.
Yes, absolutely. And Hames is in tempo, in rhythm. This ball comes right up to her. Look at that delivery by Lexi Rodriguez, the libero for Nebraska, puts that ball up to Hames perfectly. As a result, in system, fast to the pin. That's the key to winning.
It's one of the things that Lindsey Krause loves as a freshman. She loves that fast tempo ball out to the pin, beats the block, and she's just so explosive for a freshman. And you see the hitting percentages. Nebraska at 214, -111 for Penn State. Here's Gabby Blossom, current Big Ten Setter of the Week. She's won that award 8 times in her career. Caffey just kind of rolls that over. Great up. They get it over, they do. Wow, what a play. And another good dig there by Hampton. Lexi Rodriguez. Ah, what a swing. Maddie Kubik.
I love the play on both sides of the net. You know, great defensive gets. And just extending the rack, is able to get that cross-court winner.
So Russ Rose will take his second timeout here of set number 1. Nittany Lions down by
cross-court.
Maddie Kubik. And Caffey just kind of rolls that over. Great up. They get it over, they do. Wow, what a play. And another good dig there by Hampton. Lexi Rodriguez. Ah, what a swing. Maddie Kubik.
I love the play on both sides of the net. You know, great defensive gets in perfect position down the line, cross court, and then just extending the rally. Nebraska is able to get that cross-court winner.
Any of them having an opportunity to win.
It's brilliant scheduling, if you ask me.
It's terrific. That is life in the best conference in the country. Outside Rollins, Nebraska got a hand on it, and a great up by Hames. Secondary set out to Kubik, and Kubik gets a kill for Nebraska out of system and puts Nebraska at set point.
And Kubik's block, getting a touch on Rollins' attack, was key to winning that play.
And Kate Fitzpatrick into the back row for the Nittany Lions. Russ Rose trying to find some sort of consistency in the serve-receive pattern. Powering through that is Parker right between the block, despite not a great first touch.
Yeah, Parker cleaning that one up for her team. Not a great pass, not a great set. Johnny Parker with the kill.
Audrey, how about this number? Nebraska right now siding out at 92.9%.
That's unheard of. It's unbelievable.
And they're looking for a side out here. Point for Nebraska, they do, and Nebraska takes set number 1 here at home over the Nittany Lions, 25-14.
And when these two teams go head-to-head, boy, they get real serious, the fan base does.
Kinsey Knuckles will start it off for Nebraska. Targeting it on Rollins. Nice pass by Rollins this time. Great up by Hames. Out of system set outside. Rolled over, overpass. Good opportunity here. Second touch. Oh, what a play. Still alive. Run the middle. Nice up. And terminated. Adana Rollins, boy, that might have just blown the roof off the place had it gone the other way. And the crowd appreciative.
The Nebraska fans do not care that they ultimately did not win the point, because that was an amazing get by Lexi Rodriguez. You don't see that very often.
Testament to how difficult it is to get a ball down on this Nebraska team. Kubik pulls that one back in. And the block goes back. Watch this up by the freshman Lexi Rodriguez, who is a 5-time Conference Player of the Week in her freshman year.
Well, it's her speed to the ball and then just being able to angle herself in the right way. She's checking. She probably has a
strawberry, yeah.
little strawberry there.
A couple of them.
Yeah. Her foot speed is unbelievable.
Good up in the back row. Off the swing by Kubik. Go back, Kubik again. And that time, that was directional. Straight down.
Yeah, if Kubik has any opening, boy, she is going to score. The block for Penn State, not quite formed. You see Horde getting caught up there in the middle. Shuffle stepping, but not able to get hip to hip with that right side blocker.
Rodriguez back to serve. Still feeling the effects of that dive on the floor. Good serve. Assistant Park will take a swing from 10 feet away. No touch. That one's going to be wide. Point for the Nittany Lions.
I feel like that ball was set too far off the net, and Krause really couldn't take the approach and go forward with the ball. She was kind of getting that ball behind her head a little bit. So Nicklin Haynes just setting that ball slightly off the net.
And there's Stivrins with a nice pass from Hames. Good set.
Yeah, when you're in a 3-hitter rotation, well, now they're in a 2-hitter rotation. Haynes has rotated up to the front row, but the advantage really does go to the offense, because each blocker on the other side has to stay home with their hitter, and that opened up a lot of angles for Nebraska's middle attack.
And the ace for Kianile Akana.
You're seeing why Nebraska is #1 in the conference in one of the most important categories, serving right now. Penn State rotating people in and out, trying to get some rhythm going. That was what they did. Nebraska completely dominated from the service line, which rattled Penn State early on in the first set.
Akana now with 24 aces on the year. It puts Penn State out of system here. But Penn State comes out on top, gets the point there, up 4-3.
Yeah, sometimes you get lucky. That joust at the net went Penn State's way, but it's certainly not the type of offense that Russ Rose wants to see from his team. Here you see just a challenge at the net there. Nice joust. Good job by Penn State to win that one.
The slide, Stivrins is blocked. No touch there. That is long, and another hitting error on Nebraska as the hitting errors have ticked up a bit here in set 2 for the Huskers. Terrific up. Nice set to Parker. Secondary set. Down. Goes to Stivrins on the slide, right into the block, and waiting there was Angelina Stark.
Yeah, Angelina Stark now rotating to the front row. She's just a freshman for Penn State, but in the course of this rally, Penn State showed a great amount of patience, and they just extended the rally, kept fighting for the point, and then you see the ending play there, a nice stuff block.
And then Stark right into the block of Lauren Stivrins, who returns the favor.
Well, the Big Ten will teach you very early, and they will not be very forgiving. The block for Nebraska, you cannot go low seam, especially when Stivrins is there. Look at how her head is completely over the net. That's a physical, huge block.
Tough serve there, but great in-system pass. And a point for the Nittany Lions. Nebraska into the net.
You know, what makes a good serve-receive player? You've got to be calm at the point of when the ball is being served. You've got to move your feet well. And then at the point where that ball is going off your arms, you've got to have that just innate touch on the ball. Yeah, you've got to know when to maybe retract a little bit, when to stroke the ball a little bit. You either have it or you don't, and I'll tell you what, it's a hard skill to teach, but when you see a kid with it, boy, you get them on your team fast.
Nittany Lions have stepped it up here in set 2. They lead it 8-4. Lexi Sun into the block. Free ball opportunity here for Penn State. That was Nicklin Hames, all 5'9", got the block.
And we'll see how long Russ Rose keeps his left side in. That was an opportunity to perhaps go over Nicklin Hames down the line. And we'll see, you know, if Russ Rose tries to find an answer in that left side position.
Ani Evans in to serve for the Huskers, her first action. And the slide. A little long from Holland. Allie Holland couldn't quite catch up and sends it long.
So Blossom right now has 2 hitters in the front row, and we'll see if she decides to go to the back row as an option. It seems like her 2 front row hitters are not delivering, or we always see Blossom attack the ball if she's if she gets a ball that's passed tight enough to the net.
I like Blossom going right back to Holland again there. Couldn't quite terminate, but Johnny Parker does.
Yeah. And that ball is set perfectly right in front of the 10-foot line. Johnny Parker just leaping. Look at the extension. And then a poor defensive get there. You want to follow the angle of the ball, adjust prior to the point of contact in the backcourt. Tough
Pass there, pins Nebraska into the left side. Run the middle, knocked down by Holland. Now Rollins with the opportunity.
Attack there is absolutely beautiful. It's flat, it's high, it takes advantage of the block. That hands are not over the net, just up high. And if you have hands that are high above the net, boy, you go after them. It's the hands that go over the net that are really tough when they're reaching over for the ball. But that block by Penn State was up there ready for Krause to use.
Good tip and a kill by Parker.
Parker really seeing where the opening is on the court. She goes up strong. And take a look at where that ball goes, right in the middle. And there's all kinds of people there for Nebraska. The ball gets up, but then the second contact was just a mishit.
Big block, and I believe that was Holland that got the hand on it along with Parker there on the left side, right side for Penn State.
Well, take a look at this. When the ball gets passed off the net, Hames really only has one option. You didn't see Stivrins going for that slide, so Penn State's block ready and clamped in for that big stuff block. Center line violation, I believe, is the call on that one.
So Penn State with the lead here in set number 2. They're on top 15-10, and they've been terrific at the net. 6 blocks for the Nittany Lions. They lead it here in the second.
Of serve-receive issues that Penn State has had so far. Now they're looking better in the second set, but Horde really has been quiet.
Secondary set out to Parker again. Nice dig by Akana. Back row swing, dug by Blossom. Little shot. Akana with the dig again. Good up, good. Hampton. Long rally. Here's Kubik. Good up. Bumps it out to Parker off the top of the block. Tip again. And Kubik with the tip kill to end the longest rally of the match.
Oh, Big Ten volleyball. This is what it's all about. The defense on both sides of the net. Gabby Blossom with line digs that were outstanding. But ultimately, it is this, look at that get there on Nebraska's side. And then Blossom laying out. And ultimately, it was a little touch shot over the block that Blossom couldn't track down for Penn State.
Tough serve by Kubik, and it's another ace for Nebraska. That is 3 aces for the Huskers in the match.
It's a really tough serve. You've got your left front player, number 10 for Penn State right now. And they're trying to serve to her, and you can see Blossom is in front of her. So lots of traffic there on that side of the net.
Well, right there again, another tough one, but Rollins got a good swing out of the back row. Sun brushes it down. Lexi Sun with the kill. Oh, check that. They're going to call a violation on Nebraska. Point for Penn State.
Well, that's an interesting call. Yeah, you know, I've seen some tips like that, and they're calling it a throw, and you know, it's a tough call. I didn't see anything wrong with it, actually.
Sun comes right back with the kill. That's her 6th.
I like how Lexi Sun sees the block going outside, reaching to the pin, and so what does she do? She puts it flat and hard right in that left back corner.
Served by Evans. Off the block, and the kill for Angelina Stark.
Well, it was great to see her get a swing and a kill here because the block has been all over her. And you can see right there the finish. She hits it forward and then at the end swipes it off the block. That's a great move for a freshman.
Into the antenna. Sun just brushes the antenna as the ball got a little bit outside. And tough for her to handle.
Yeah, John Cook has been saying he needs both left sides to have big nights, not just one.
Just the third service error on Penn State. 4-point Nittany Lion lead. And Nebraska's all-time assists leader back to serve in the rally scoring era, trailing only Fiona Nepo. And that's a well-wide service error.
Definitely going for that right back area of the court, trying to get Stark to pass the ball.
So out of the timeout, 19-14, Penn State with the lead here in the second, trying to even it up on the road. Allie Holland to serve. 4 service errors on Penn State, 6 for Nebraska. So Sun now back to serve for the Huskers. Just off the tape. A nice second touch there to put over by Horde.
Well, this has been a very unusual match so far, I must say. It's kind of
It's a good way to put it.
yeah, lopsided. And even statistically, you know, right now Nebraska's hitting 0%. They have as many errors as they have kills, so very strange match. Not typical of what we see from both of these teams, actually.
Krause tried line there and was just wide. About a foot outside the line. Penn State 21-15, largest lead of the match here for the Nittany Lions. Contrast in sets as Nebraska held Penn State to negative hitting percentage in set 1. Now Penn State returning the favor, moving Nebraska to negative 27, and that'll go down even more after that hitting error.
And the mark of a great setter is, can you take a ball that's not passed perfectly and put something up for your hitters to hit? Nicklin Hames is a fantastic setter.
On the right side is Whitney Launstein. Launstein, a freshman out of Waverly, Nebraska, just outside of Lincoln. Kathy with the tip. Not much Kathy could do with it. The timing was off, but she made the right decision.
Yeah, in that situation, when the right side blocker is helping, you can see a lot of area in that right front area of the court. You draw the blocker in, space is created for that tip to score.
Rodriguez now will serve for Nebraska. Lawson pushes good pace out to Parker, but Nebraska's block is there, and that's the freshman, Launstein.
Yeah, when you are one-dimensional on that particular play, Blossom only had a long set to the outside, and that gives Nebraska's block a ton of time to get set up. Boy, that's a scary looking block for Nebraska. I mean, scary in a good way, obviously.
We got you. Good up by Knuckles. Great up by Jenna Hampton. And then 4 touches called on Penn State. Did not clear the tape. So Penn State was on a 3-0 run. Nebraska takes a timeout and goes on a 3-0 run of its own. And now Russ Rose will take his first timeout here in the second.
The teams are trying to attain. The bar is set so high by these two programs and these two legendary coaches.
3-0 Nebraska run out of the timeout. Here's Rodriguez to serve. Good pass in system. Blossom leaves it for Parker, who can't get it down. And outside off the top of the block. And Rollins is dug. Tough one here. Who brought back in, clearly out. And Rollins sends that back over. Opportunity here for the Huskers. And they deliver. 4-0 run for Nebraska.
And this is rotation one. Adana Rollins is right back, and they're choosing to keep her on the right side. Johnny Parker's swinging left side. And again, great patience by Nebraska to just grit it out, grind it out to get that point.
No touch there in the middle, and that swing was long. Off of Horde, they are going to call a touch. They do call a touch.
Yeah. And nobody really argued it on Nebraska's side of the net, so I believe there was a touch, obviously. Ball goes to Penn State.
In real time, it certainly looked like a touch, but Nebraska celebrated in the way that led you to believe it was. That's selling it, I guess, right?
Selling it.
Whitney Lonstein from that right side. Lonstein has come off the bench and provided a little spark here.
Yeah, just a different look on that right side attack, a high point of contact, using the block. It's exactly what Coach Cook needs from her. Take a look again. Big, solid approach. Boy, you gotta love it when your number gets called and you deliver something like that at a critical time in the match.
Penn State still 2 away from the second here, trying to even it at 1 apiece. Blossom, nice set behind her, and Parker right into the block of Stivrins.
Yeah, again, the pass is taking Blossom off the net, so really just a high ball to the pin. Super easy for Nebraska's block to get there. Lots of time to get there. You can see that ball really never cleared the tape.
Keanile Akana back at the line for the Huskers. Wow, solo block on Pritchard, and that's Nebraska's setter, Nicklin Hames. And that's an appreciative crowd.
Oh, just listen to them. Up, cheering on. Nicklin Hames. Stivrins can't even believe it. One-on-one, straight down. Oh, big point.
1 point match here in the second. Out of system goes Penn State. Parker rolls it over. Knuckles handles it. On the slide, Stivrins touches. Stivrins with the kill. We are even at 23, and Nebraska has come all the way back here in set 2.
Well, you just got to appreciate the Devaney right now going wild for their Huskers.
It was 22-15. Penn State had the lead. Nebraska on an 8-1 run to even this at 23.
Stark is in for Penn State in the serve-receive pattern and left back.
Served by Akana. They go right at Adana Rollins. Swing is wide and long. What a comeback. It is a 5-0 Nebraska run, 9-1, and a change again for Penn State.
Yeah, taking Adana Rollins out of the serve-receive pattern, getting a DS in there, and you can see the setter, Gabby Blossom, is in that right middle back area of the court as she penetrates up to the net to set the ball.
Set point. Good dig by Rodriguez. Bump set. Swing is long, and that gives the set to Nebraska.
Boy, that is a comeback like I have not seen very often in this conference when you're that far ahead, especially Penn State. Nebraska just doing a good job of fighting every single point, getting this second set.
This block was huge in the middle of the rally. Nebraska closes it on a 6-0 run, 10-1 to take set number 2 and go on top, 2-0.
He is a fan favorite here for sure.
Whitney Lonstein back in there. Lonstein now 2 swings, 2 kills for the freshman. Rodriguez back to serve. Yeah, I would say one of the more emotional moments of the year was that match against Michigan here when Stivrins unexpectedly showed up in the starting lineup and the crowd erupted during starting lineups, and Stivrins became very emotional. It was a little awkward to get that emotional in starting lineups, but how much it meant to her to get back on the floor after such a bad back injury over the course of the last year.
Yeah, you know, Stivrins just worked so hard and really did her best to get back into the starting lineup, and she has had a great season since she stepped foot back on the court. And I think it's not just what she does, but what her skill does in terms of opening things up for the other hitters, and the emotional leadership that she has on the court is undeniable.
Right on cue, Stivrins with the kill.
Take a look at the back court right now for Nebraska. You got Knuckles, you got Akana, you got Rodriguez. I mean, those three, any one of them could be a libero for any team, and here they are, the two are DSs and playing like liberos in the back court.
There's Adana Rollins, who's been quiet here tonight, but out of the back row with good swing there by Rollins. Rollins just with a much different role with Penn State than she was used to when she was at Minnesota, asked to keep the ball up, maybe provide additional opportunities for Pittman and Samity, and took some time to get used to that role, but over the last 4 weeks, she's been terrific for the Nittany Lions.
Well, right now, Holland's doing a really good job of getting her feet out there to the block and sealing the net. This slide is read perfectly by Penn State's block. It's a great momentum boost for Penn State.
How to respond after that set 2 disappointment where it looked like you were just points away from taking the set, evening it at 1 apiece. And there's a great angle and great find in the deep corner for Maddie Kubik.
Yeah, you know, the block's responsibility is to take away middle back, and then a shot like that, there's really no defense to stop it. It's just, hey, at that point, that outside hitter is better than the defense. They were lined up, they were ready for her. She's just very skilled.
Good pass there by Rollins. That led to the middle run, and Allie Holland with the kill.
You know, Russ Rose said the best matches that Penn State has played has been when Allie Holland has had big, big games. And they're going to need her to provide a little bit of an offensive rhythm here. And you can see they're taking advantage of that B over top of Nicklin Hames. It's a great set, but it is only possible when you have a pass to work with.
Sent over by Rollins. Opportunity here for Nebraska. Second touch, not down, and that is Holland. Nebraska was into the net.
Yeah, Nicklin Hames touched the net when she was trying to attack the ball. But when you're in the front row, you know, you have to every once in a while be a bit of an offensive threat if you're a setter. If not, the block just leaves you alone and goes to the hitters, your 2 hitters that you're left with. So it's a good thing that she is working in some attacks.
Good angle, but a great up there by Hampton. Second touch, the kill. There's Gabby Blossom.
Yeah, I think Gabby Blossom, for her height, she does an amazing job of attacking the ball. She's listed as 5'8". Take a look at how she extends that left arm, and she's got a bunch of different attacks that she will dump over the net. That one going deeper to the right back area of the court. Tough one for Nebraska's defense to handle.
Kubik out of the back row. Good set by Hames.
Yeah, and an unusual angle that Kubik is able to hit. It's an amazing shot, and I like how she wraps her feet around the ball. She keeps that ball over her right shoulder, and it allows her to hit that left back area of the court, but you often don't see that shot. That's what makes her so hard to defend.
Here is Ani Evans now into serve from Waverly, Nebraska. The small communities around Cornhusker State have been such a big part of this Nebraska program for so many years, supporting the Huskers. Into the net there on the hitting error, point for Penn State.
Well, I feel like Penn State's block is now dialed in. You saw 2 blockers up against Kubik as she was approaching for the backcourt. And as a hitter, when you see those hands in front of you, you often try to do something a little more with the ball. So Penn State's block really seems to be dialed in here in the 3rd set.
And the ace. First ace of the match for the Nittany Lions comes from Angelina Stark, her 3rd of the year.
Well, I've seen this young lady play a lot in club volleyball, and I was always impressed with how competitive she was and how calm she was under pressure situations.
On the slide, and a kill for Nebraska. I think in the net was called on the Nittany Lions.
Yep. That's Cappy's 4th kill, hitting 42%.
Rollins off the block. Adana Rollins starting to warm up here in set 3. Rollins now with 4 kills on 15 swings.
I would agree with you. I think not only is she hitting better, you can see the ball is set inside a little bit, so allows different angles for her to hit at, but I also think her serve-receive game is a little bit better. You just don't want to get aced when you're in the serve-receive pattern. Just put that ball high to the middle of the court.
Great run there in the middle to Kayla Caffey, and Nebraska's senior with the kill.
And what I like about Caffey is she keeps great distance away from the net so that she can swing through. Here you see a one-on-one opportunity, and I love the way Nicklin Hames has that space along the net that she works with, so she's never setting the ball directly in front of the opposing team's middle block.
Tried to run the middle there, Horde not down. Up to Rollins, and Rollins, Whitney Lonstein got a hand on that.
Oh, Lonstein gives a little look to Adala Rollins. I love it. Watch this. There is the stuff block. And then little here I am. I'm going to be here all night.
The freshman. Wow. 9-7 here. Nittany Lions on top in set 3. Good pass in system. Horde not down. Not a good set there for Nebraska, but Huskers bail out on the tip try by Rollins.
Other trend I'm noticing about Penn State is there's not a lot of transition middle attack. There's middle attacks on serve receive, but not necessarily on transition, which is one of the keys to really being a great team. Can you set anybody, not only in serve receive, but in transition?
On the back row, Parker with the tip is down. Hames tried to keep it alive, but a kill for Johnny Parker. She leads Penn State with 9 kills, hitting just over 75, well, right at 100, actually.
I take a look at this. I love this angle. The camera shows just that big hole, and you've got to be deep when there's that back row attack because most of the balls come deep, and so the defense is back on their heels, ready for a bomb, and then little tip shot scores.
Rodriguez now back to serve for Nebraska. I mentioned earlier, in her freshman year, she has been the player of the week, either defensive player of the week or freshman of the week, 5 times. There's a terrific in-system ball. Caitlin Horde got one she could unload on and delivered.
And off the arms of Adana Rollins on the serve receive pass there. So this is exactly the type of rhythm that you're used to seeing from Penn State. This middle attack going high. Horde hitting all kinds of angles when she's able to, when she's at the net in good rhythm. She's one of the best in the conference.
Maddie Belinovich in now to serve for the Nittany Lions. 5-7, yes, doesn't quite clear the net, and the service errors beginning to pile up on the Penn State side. That is now 6. Keanale Akana now will serve for Nebraska. Great set behind her from Gabby Blossom. Nebraska crowd wanted to carry here, and Tyler Hildebrand is up off the bench talking to the official and saying, wait a minute, if Lexi Sons was a carry, how about that?
Yeah, right. And you know, sometimes you just have to force middle. So here you see Blossom moving forward. The last thing you expect is a back set to Horde, something fast. But yeah, Horde has that ability to take that ball from a high point of contact and slam it down. Sometimes she gets called though, but not that time.
Got the touch and the kill by Kinsey Knuckles.
Hard to believe that that young lady was the libero last year. We had no idea how skilled she was in the backcourt until she emerged this year as a potential back row attacker when she's back there. So it's always nice to have that outlet with Kinsey Knuckles.
Driving serve pulled back in. On the slide, Stevens, yep.
You give Nebraska a free ball, and this is what they will do. Take a look at Stivrins here, and well, this is a great get by Penn State, but results in a free ball. And then you can see that this slide is not all the way to the antenna. It's in that gap area, so really difficult to defend. Left side blocker was all the way to the pin.
Good up by Kubik, and then Hames. And then Sun rolls it over and gets it down. Defense leads to offense for the Huskers.
Well, they never gave up on the play. Take a look at Kubik here, just never giving up on the ball. And then Nicklin Hames putting something up that's hittable. And what a great shot by Lexi Sun. That's the perfect time for a roll shot right in the middle of the court.
3-0 Nebraska run. Holland not quite down. Good block touch by Penn State. Back out to Parker. And then a big block by Holland in the middle.
Boy, Holland is a big presence. When she gets up, boy, she is so good. Reaching back to the middle of the court. Again, there was only one option, so she releases early. And I like how she holds her hands up. Even when her feet land on the block, she's not batting at it when she's blocking, keeping those hands up as long as she can.
Holland, the transfer from Tennessee, was not originally recruited by Penn State. They had a couple of middles, didn't have a need, but in the transfer portal, they found her, and she's been a great one in Penn State. Lonnie Evans now will serve for the Huskers. Back and forth set number 3. Net violation called on Nebraska. We are back to even.
Yeah, Caffey went up with that second contact, which left the outside blocker, Nicklin Hames, one-on-one, and she was reaching hard to try to seal the net, ended up touching the net.
another service error, and those have really piled up here for Penn State now. 8 service errors, and Nebraska on top, 15-14. In system to Horde, she'll terminate every time, as will Nebraska's middle, Lauren Stivrins. 15-14, Nebraska with the lead here in the third. Short serve out of the timeout. Boy, good save there by Holland, and then the tip in the middle by Parker. Smart play by Parker.
Yeah, really smart play. Again, when block moves in, you've got lots of area on the court, right in that corner. And the one thing that Lexi Rodriguez did in that play that you never see her do, her feet were still moving to get back in defensive position. Usually she is stopped when the hitter makes contact, and that allows her to cover a lot of court.
Boy, what a swing by Lonstein. Left pin unloads, and that is such an athletic freshman.
Man, oh man. She is making a case for herself to stay on the floor. She's having a great night tonight.
Lonstein, 3 swings, 3 kills off the bench for Nebraska. Add to that 2 blocks. She's had an impact. On the slide, Horde. Boy, Horde can be terminal when she gets it in system.
Yep. And at this point, you really just have to force the ball to her. So take a look at how she is well over top of the block as she's swinging through. So fantastic job. Horde needs to ask for more sets, demand more sets here in the third.
Lonstein again, 4 for 4. And sometimes, Audrey, it's that player you don't expect off the bench, didn't prepare for, not quite sure, that can come on and change a game.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, who had a scouting report for her? You know, she hasn't taken a lot of swings of the ball, so Penn State a little caught off guard here with how well Lonstein is playing on the right pin.
Good up by Hames off the swing of Rollins. Good block touch right behind it by Donna. Parker gets credit for the kill.
You know, what I like about Parker is her presence on the court never changes. When they're up, when they're down, she's just steady Eddie out on the floor, and I really appreciate that about her. She's been a stable person for the Nittany Lions ever since she set foot on the court as a freshman.
Into the net called on Nebraska. That was on Lonstein. Both Lonstein and Stivrins went up after it. Stivrins looked and said, "It wasn't me," and Lonstein said, "Yeah, it was me." So Rollins now back to serve. Nittany Lions have regained the lead here, 18-17 in the third. Parker, Nebraska's block touch, kept it in play. And then Kubik, just a little roll shot and reaching behind, was Stark to try to keep it alive, to no avail. 18 all.
But how many times did Nicklin Hames make great key digs in that right back area of the court? She does an exceptional job of lining up outside of the block. Again, to extend that rally, give her team an opportunity to score with the swing on the left pin.
Hames was a libero in high school. Decided to switch to setter midway through her high school career. On the slide, Stivrins off the block. That was a good, nice quick set to the middle, Caitlin Horde.
Yeah, take a look who's playing left side for Penn State. You got Anna Kate Fitzpatrick out on the outside. And that's a lineup we haven't seen, so we'll see what she can bring to the offense.
In system, great pass, great set on the slide, and Stivrins finish it. Stivrins now with 6 kills.
Yeah, I think that is a statement that Russ Rose is making when he keeps Anna Kate Fitzpatrick, the 5'11" sophomore, on the outside. She is not a huge block, but there is something that he wants from his left sides that he is obviously not seeing to go that deep into his lineup for left side.
Blossom behind her to Parker. Secondary set to Sun. Great up and back by Hampton, diving to keep it alive. Same for Nebraska. And then the swing, no touch is long. They did get a touch. Penn State called. And we're going to have a challenge.
Well, we haven't had too many challenges in this match, but
might have been the first, right?
Yeah, Russ Rose.
Index finger, and he saw the same thing. Saw a touch.
Well, you know, you're looking at the coaching staff for Nebraska right now, and all hands on deck. They're all so excited. They're celebrating every point, and they're really backing their team. Great to see.
So Maddie Kubik will serve now with Nebraska on top by 1 here in the third. Good pass by Rollins. In system to the middle, Holland not down. And Sun that time, no touch, and that is wide, even at 20.
Again, an unfortunate error for Nebraska, just allowing Penn State an easy point to tie this one up. Really want to do a better job on that left side of knowing when you can get the kill and knowing when you can't.
A great line shot by Parker, and now Penn State with the lead here late in the third.
We'll take a look at Johnny Parker. Fears nothing, and this is what I truly enjoy about this young
match. Nebraska at Creighton, 11,000 plus, and Utah at Nebraska right here in Lincoln. On the slide, Stivrins. Big point here for Penn State.
We have to point out who the front row is for Penn State right now. Holland, Blossom, and Fitzpatrick. Adonna Rollins and Parker back court. So we'll see if Blossom goes to her back row attackers. If you're Nebraska's front row, you need to know where the attack is probably going to go to. It's going to go, I would assume, to Parker in the back court if she gets a good pass.
And now in is Angelina Stark, just coming in for Fitzpatrick. Tough serve there, but a good up by Hampton. Exploded by Kayla Caffey.
Now Caffey just so hard to defend. Holland really not sending over anything that Nebraska cannot handle. As a result, you're seeing a transition swing out of the middle from Kayla Caffey. What a big arm she has.
Stivrins now will serve. And system back row, Parker, no doubt.
Yeah.
And Parker encouraging the Nittany Lions here late.
Yeah, you got to go with the strongest, most reliable player on your team, and that's this young lady right here. Fierce competitor. She fears nothing.
The slide down again. There is Caffey. Back-to-back kills for Nebraska. She's got 7 in the match.
What a swing. You know, at this point of the set, you want to know who the playmakers are going to be, and it's been Caffey. No block on that cross.
So ready to go here in set 3 at the end, 23-22. row swing and aggressive kill by Johnny Parker. (23-all) here in set number 3. Back to serve, Allie Holland. Good serve by Holland. Nice pass from Rodriguez. And there is Whitney Lonstein again. And Nebraska has match point here at home. Penn State has only been swept once this season. And Nebraska trying to do it here at match point. And a touch, and Nebraska wins it in a sweep at home.
Off of the serve. How ironic is that? This has been a display of how important